Remember that story from a few months ago about the noose that was found on a black woman's desk who works at a city hall in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and the community leaders rallied behind her, demanded answers and accountability, and we all knew what those answers were going to be from the day that this story broke. And now finally the rest of the country, and more importantly the locals in Allentown, are finding that out too.
Natasha Brown was quick to tell police that what she thought was a noose was found on her desk here at Allentown City Hall. But after 2 months of outrage and claims of racism, Brown is now charged with putting the noose there herself.
What a surprise! I'm actually surprised that she got charged with so many George Soros puppet district attorneys across the country infesting our legal system, sweeping these kinds of crimes under the rug. So thankfully justice has been served, although it is bizarre and sad and an indictment of our legal system that she was only charged with misdemeanors, because of course if in some Twilight Zone dimension a white person actually did put a noose on her desk, they would have been charged with felony hate crimes. But the person who committed that very crime against herself is in order to stage a false flag, inciting more racism in order to get sympathy and use that as leverage to try to get a raise. She really just gets off, almost scot-free. And speaking of an angry black woman who always hallucinates that there's supposed racism around every corner and that she blames on white people, Jasmine Crockett, the biggest ghetto hood rat in Congress, was speaking at the LGBT extremist lobbying organization, the Human Rights Campaign, recently, and was saying this about the outcome of the 2024 presidential election.
I honestly didn't know how I was going to get out of bed. When I tell y'all, I'm getting emotional, that I traveled this country because I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know it was going to be this bad shit, but
Watch your mouth, lady. I'm trying to run a family-friendly show around here, you ratchet garden tool.
I knew. And I knew that the obstacles were going to be even greater because not only was it a woman, but it was a woman of color. But man,
was she the least qualified candidate to ever be a party's nominee? And when she was confronted by someone on Laura Loomer's crew yesterday, this happened.
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the Tesla?
No, she won't condemn violence. She will commit violence. That right there is assault. And hopefully that cameraman has filed a police report by now and we can get her arrested. And remember when Don Lemon told Bill Maher on his podcast that he thinks that the media should be propping up Jasmine Crockett and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as the new leaders of the party? Well, some others are quite concerned about that. Here is Hakeem Jeffries being asked about that very thing.
Rep. AOC drew some large crowds on the trail this past week, stumping out west with Senator Sanders.
He's like, I know, she's becoming the star of our party and she's a moron.
Is it wise to elevate her as a party messenger? And to what extent are you concerned that she could become a prominent boogeyman for the GOP ahead of 2026?
She's already a prominent member of the House Democratic Caucus, and I expect that will continue.
Next question. She's already the laughingstock amongst the Republican Party. And just when you thought Jasmine Crockett couldn't sink any lower, this is what she had to say about Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
And because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey, y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So yes.
Governor Hot Wheels, she called him. In case you're not aware, Greg Abbott was injured in an accident and paralyzed many decades ago and has been confined to a wheelchair ever since. Republicans have filed a censure resolution which should officially condemn her in the Congress and hopefully get her removed from her committee assignments, because she really should just be banished to MSNBC. Because while it's fair and fine and fun to make fun of certain mentally handicapped people, like liberals and gender benders, and even others with physical disabilities like fat people. You should not make fun of a guy who is bound to a wheelchair because he was in an accident, especially as a member of Congress. I mean, as a comedian, that would be fine, but this was really, really low. And of course, she is lying about it, posting on Twitter that she wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. She says she was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants, the criminal invaders, into communities led by black mayors. Notice she capitalized black, deliberately stoking tension and fear amongst the most vulnerable. But I thought diversity is our strength. Wouldn't sending the illegal aliens, the migrants, to black communities be beneficial for them? And I don't know how they did it, but some internet sleuth dug up a Facebook post that she liked from 3 years ago where somebody else had posted a comment calling him Hot Wheels. And so that was before he started shipping the migrants around, obviously making fun of him because he is in a wheelchair. A lot of angry black women in the media this week. This is Tiffany Cross, who you may recall was fired from MSNBC, the first angry black woman fired over there. Then Joy Reid, of course, got her show recently canceled. And now she has found a home as a panelist over on the Clown News Network.
So as a patriot, Scott, I find it really troubling because they ran on this whole idea of this pseudo-patriotism, this regressive masculine patriotism, yet everything they're doing runs against making America great. Well, it was never great, so I'm not going to say the again part, but making America great. You're trying to defend the indefensible. Yeah, I absolutely feel that way. I absolutely feel that way.
America was never great, she says. Well, lady, maybe you should go back to Africa and make us all happier, because this is what us normal people think.
Let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track.
Look at how upset this angry black woman is. You can go back to Africa, too. And instead of selling out and shilling garbage products or services like just about every other YouTuber, I stick to selling my own books and t-shirts. And now all of my designs are available in tank tops now that we are officially in spring. Head on over to markdice.com and then click the Tanks tab up at the top, and you can see all the designs from America First, Trump's America, Make Me a Sandwich, my personal favorite, Operation Mockingbird, and all of my designs now available in tank tops for the spring and summer. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Click the Tanks tab at the top of the page and check them out.